They were humanity's last hope. 30 children sent into the void with their instincts chemically suppressed. But what happens when the drug stops working and human nature awakens light years from home? Comment where in the world you're watching from, then let's begin. The year is 2063. Earth's sky glows orange through a haze of pollution. Cities sprawl across continents, their lights visible even through the toxic atmosphere. The planet is dying, slowly, inexorably, suffocating under the weight of its own population and the consequences of centuries of exploitation. In a research facility outside Geneva, scientists work in pristine white laboratories. They study data on holographic displays, their faces illuminated by blue light. The data shows atmospheric collapse models, resource depletion projections, extinction timelines. Every graph trends downward. Every prediction grows darker. A planet has been found. Its designation is Kepler 452c, but the scientists call it simply the New World. It orbits a distant star 86 light-years from Earth. The planet has oxygen, water, vegetation. It can support human life. It is humanity's second chance. But the journey will take 86 years at maximum velocity. No one alive today will ever set foot on it. Neither will their children. Only their grandchildren's children will reach the destination. The mission requires a multi-generational crew. 30 children, bred and raised for this purpose. They will live and die aboard the ship. Their children will do the same. And their children's children will finally inherit a new world. Inside a special wing of the facility, 30 children live and train. They range in age from 6 to 12. All were conceived through in vitro fertilization, selected for genetic diversity, intelligence, and physical health. They have no parents in the traditional sense, no families, no homes beyond these walls. They belong to the mission. The children wear identical gray uniforms. They move through the facility in organized groups, their schedules precise and regimented. They attend classes in mathematics, engineering, biology, agriculture. They train in simulators that replicate every system on the spacecraft they will eventually pilot. Every aspect of their lives is monitored, measured, optimized. Among them is a boy named Christopher. He is 10 years old, with dark hair and sharp, observant eyes. He sits in a classroom, watching a simulation of the journey on a large screen. The trajectory arcs across the display, Earth to Kepler 452c, a line stretching through decades of time and impossible distances of space. Beside him sits a girl named Sela. She has long brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her eyes track the simulation with intense focus. When the teacher asks questions, her hand shoots up first. She answers with precision and confidence. In the back row sits another boy, Zach. He is slightly older, perhaps 11, with blonde hair and pale blue eyes. While the others watch the screen, Zach watches the other children. His expression is neutral, calculating, studying their reactions. The teacher, a woman in her 40s named Dr. Richard, explains the mission parameters. The journey will span 3 generations. They will be the first generation, responsible for maintaining the ship and raising the second generation. Their children will do the same. Their grandchildren will land on Kepler 452c and begin colonization. Christopher raises his hand. Will we ever see the planet? Dr. Richard's expression softens with something like sadness. No, Christopher, you won't. Neither will your children. He sees Christopher and Sela in her quarters, intimate and vulnerable. He sees other crew members expressing doubts about the mission, about continuing toward Kepler 452c, about following orders. He sees the fractures in the crew, the weaknesses he can exploit. Zach begins manipulating information. He edits communications logs to make it appear that Christopher is hoarding resources. He alters work schedules to create conflicts. He spreads rumors through his loyal followers, carefully designed to erode trust in Christopher's leadership. The manipulation works. More crew members begin gravitating towards Zach, seeing him as stable and rational compared to the emotional volatility of those off the blue. Zach's faction grows from 12 to 18, then to 20. Christopher senses he's losing control but can't identify the source. Problems seem to arise from nowhere. Misunderstandings multiply. The crew that once worked seamlessly together now stumbles through basic tasks, hampered by suspicion and conflict. Sela stumbles upon Zach's surveillance operation by accident. She's running diagnostics on the ship's network when she notices unusual data traffic flowing to a hidden partition in the computer core. She traces it and finds the surveillance feeds, the edited logs, the evidence of Zach's manipulation. She brings Christopher immediately. Together they review what Zach has been doing, their anger growing with each discovery. He's been sabotaging us from the beginning, Christopher says, his voice tight with fury. We need to expose him. Sela replies. Show the crew what he's really doing. They call another meeting, this time with evidence. They display the surveillance feeds on the common area's main screen, show the edited logs, explain Zach's manipulation. The crew reacts with shock and outrage. Even some of Zack's own followers look betrayed. Zack stands accused before them all, his carefully constructed facade crumbling. But Zack doesn't deny it. Instead, he doubles down. "Yes, I've been watching you," he says calmly. "Because someone needs to." "Christopher, stop taking the blue and convinced half of you to follow." He's compromised. He's putting his emotions, his relationship, his own desires ahead of the mission. "I did what was necessary to protect us all." "You lied," someone shouts. "I maintained order," Zack counters. "Look at yourselves. Fighting, arguing, wasting time on feelings and relationships while systems fail and the mission suffers. Richard would be ashamed." "Richard kept us drugged," Christopher says. "He treated us like lab animals, not people. He treated us like the mission required," Zack replies. "And if you're not willing to do what's necessary, then maybe you shouldn't be captain." The common area erupts. Shouting matches break out. The crew fragments further, some defending Christopher, others agreeing with Zack's harsh pragmatism. The situation spirals toward violence. Then the lights go out. Emergency lighting kicks in, bathing everything in dim red. Alarms begin blaring. Christopher rushes to the nearest console and pulls up system diagnostics. His blood runs cold. The main power grid is failing. Life support is switching to backup systems. The ship is losing artificial gravity in several sections. "This is sabotage," Sella says, reading over his shoulder. Christopher looks at Zack across the dark common area. Zack's expression is unreadable in the red emergency lighting. "Did you do this?" Christopher demands. "No," Zack says flatly. "But one of your unstable, emotion-driven followers might have." This is what happens when people make decisions based on feelings instead of logic. Christopher doesn't have time to argue. Christopher looks at Sela. She nods. They vote. 4 in favor, 3 against. The resolution passes. They implement Zack's plan. Christopher and 3 others suit up and enter the compromise section. The emergency foam holds barely. They reach Derek and Lisa, both unconscious from oxygen deprivation, and drag them back through the bulkhead just as the foam seal begins failing. The bulkhead slams shut. The section beyond explosively decompresses, lost to space. But everyone makes it out alive. In the medical bay afterward, as Derek and Lisa recover, Christopher sits with Zack. "You saved them," Christopher says. "We saved them," Zack corrects. "Council decided. I just provided the option." Christopher smiles. "We've come a long way from fighting on the medical bay floor. We've had to," Zack replies. "Turns out survival requires cooperation, not control. Time flows differently in deep space. Without seasons, without changing landscapes, the years blend together. The crew marks time by milestones, birthdays, anniversaries, the ages of the children. The first generation grows older. They're in their 30s now, no longer teenagers but not yet middle-aged. Gray appears in Christopher's hair. Lines form around Sela's eyes. Their bodies show the wear of life in artificial gravity, of limited space for exercise, of recycled everything. The second generation grows up entirely aboard the Humanitas. They know no other life. 10 children now, ranging from age 10 down to newborns. They run through the corridors with an ease their parents never achieved. Comfortable in the confined spaces, unafraid of the void beyond the walls. They form their own culture, distinct from their parents. They invent games using the ship's geometry. They create art that blends Earth's heritage with their unique experience. They speak in shorthand developed in the corridors, a language evolving in isolation. Elena, now 12, shows aptitude for engineering. She works alongside her father, learning the ship's systems with the same intensity he once brought to his studies. She's fascinated by how things work, how to fix them, how to improve them. "When we reach Kepler 452c, I want to build cities," she tells Christopher. "Real cities, not like the ruined ones on Earth. Places where people can live without destroying the world around them." Christopher feels a surge of pride and hope. This is why they're doing this. So the next generation can learn from the previous one's mistakes. So humanity gets another chance. The ship is aging. Systems that were new when they launched are now nearly 20 years old, operating continuously without replacement parts. The crew becomes expert at improvisation, at jury-rigging solutions with whatever materials they have. A water recycler breaks down, and they cannibalize parts from a redundant system to repair it. The main computer core develops errors, and they write patches to work around corrupted sectors. The hull develops microfractures from decades of micrometeorite impacts, and they apply layer after layer of sealant. It's a constant battle against entropy. Every day brings new challenges, new failures, new problems requiring creative solutions.